Hello everyone. In Power System Operation and Control, Unit 1 video has already completed. In the Unit 1, we have seen the optimal operation of generators in the thermal station, heat rate curve, considering with losses and without losses, coordination equations. Right. So in this unit, second unit, we will be considering one hydropower plant and one thermal schedule and one thermal plant. So let us see the syllabus. So hydrothermal scheduling, according to the JNTU Kakinada syllabus, is optimal scheduling of hydrothermal system, hydroelectric power plant models, scheduling problems, short-term hydrothermal scheduling problems. So here we are having hydroelectric power plant models. So there are different types of plant hydro power plant models. First one is the runoff river plants. Second one is the runoff river plants with pondage. Third one is the storage type. So here the optimization can only be possible in the storage type of plants only. In case of the pondage, as the water cannot be controlled, so there is no storage in case of the pondage. Okay. Runoff river also will be the same. As the water comes, it will be sent to the turbine where it will spin the turbine and the water will be discharged. Okay. So these are the types of sorry, hydroelectric plants models. First one is the let us see. First one is the runoff river plants. So here the water is utilized as is available in the system, as there is no provision for the storage. So whatever the water comes as an input, the water will be passes to the turbine and it discharges. So there is no name of storage here. Okay. Next one is the pondage. So pondage, when hourly fluctuations in load can be met by using this pondage. It means, for example, peak loads. Okay. So next one is the storage. So water is stored during the excess water period. It can be utilized during no season. Means whenever we are not having the rains, for example, considering it in summer, how we are going to use the water. So the water stored can be used for generating and also for the irrigation purpose. And this water, the stored water, can also be used when the power demand is high. The plant may be a single development on a river, or there may be a several plants constructed and cascaded on the same river. For example, if on the Krishna River basin, the Krishna River flows from the Maharashtra to AP, right? Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and it stops at or enters into the sea ocean at in AP. So there are several plants constructed right from the Maharashtra to Andhra Pradesh. So once the water has been used, it will be discharged, and another state again it will be utilizing. Again, it is the water will be discharged there from higher level to the lower level. So higher level here we are having the Krishna, we are having Maharashtra, and from Maharashtra to the water will be flowing through different states and it enters into the ocean at Andhra Pradesh state. So this is another one is the pumped storage plant. Pumped storage plant in Telugu, we also term it as a Ettipotala Padakam. Okay. So here, when the water is discharged from the turbine, again the water will be stored with the help of very high motor pumps. Again, it's sent back to the another second level of storage level. So thereby, if the irrigation is the water is not utilized by the irrigation, then this water can be used under the peak load condition. So this is known as a pumped storage plant. So the pumped storage hydroelectric plants generally store water to supply the peak load demands, so that the fuel is saved at thermal plants. So for this purpose, at light load periods, water is pumped to the reservoir back from the tail water pond using the power from the grid. The powerhouse may either have the turbines or pumps separately or reversible pumps, as we discussed. So here in optimal hydrothermal scheduling, we are considering one hydropower plant and one thermal power plant. Here the main intention is to reduce the operating cost of the thermal power plant with the help of the hydropower plant. Okay. So in the first unit we have considered two thermal power plants. In the unit 2 we are considering one hydro and one thermal. While considering one hydro and one thermal, it becomes a very difficult task because in thermal we will be considering the cost of the coal, whereas in case of the hydro the fuel is water, which is available free in the nature. So the optimization of two thermal plants, that is unit 1, which is known as a static optimization, and optimization of hydrothermal is known as a dynamic optimization. As the name indicates, the dynamic means it will be changes from time to time. So water is depending upon the season. It means that from the month of June to September, you'll be having the heavy rainfall. So you consider it as a rainy season, and in case of the summer, the water availability will be less. So whenever we are having the rainfall or we are having the storage capacity, there you will be generating the more power with the help of the hydro, so that the cost of the fuel which is incurred, which is used for the thermal power station, can be reduced while by generating the power from the hydro. So this is the fundamental hydrothermal system, where you can see here the load is supplied by, one is the thermal power plant and another one is the hydro power plant. So here it's nothing but in your at your house you'll be having a tank at the over your building. So in the morning 6 o'clock you will turn on the motor. The water will be filled into your tank. The water filling into the tank is considered as here as an inflow, which is the J here. So you'll store the water in the tank, and this is the water discharge, means the water which you are utilizing here. Okay. So here the water will be sent to the hydro plant, and the power will be generated in the hydro power plant, both by means of the hydro power plant, and the power generated by the thermal power plant is supplied to the load demand. The main concept, as in case of the unit 1, we have seen that the power generations should be always greater than or equal to the load demand, PD. Okay. So since we are having two thermal power stations, two power plants, one is a thermal power plant and another one is a hydro power plant, the PGT plus PJH should always be greater than or equal to the load demand. Greater means not more change. Just you should be have a 1% or 2% greater. Okay. So in order to have some from losses. So fundamental hydrothermal system. Next one is the considering, when you are considering the hydro plant, the capital cost is very high, because the construction point of view, the hydropower plants, the capital cost will be very high. Construction of reservoirs, dams, and the catchment area. And next one is the operating cost. So operating cost is, the hydropower plants will be generating the power with the help of the water. When the water enters into the turbine, it spins. Thereby the generator will be rotated. There it generates the power, and the water, discharged water, can also be used for the irrigation. So you will be having a dual purpose there. So it starts easily. So once the water enters, the motor will be generator will be starts rotating. The power will be generated, and it can be used for the peak load here. Whereas the thermal power plants, that though the capital cost is low, the operating cost is very more, because the cost of the fuel, which is nothing but your coal. So again, it takes time to start. You cannot start generating the power from the thermal power plant suddenly, because the water has to be converted into steam. Again, the steam has to be converted into dry steam. The dry steam has to pass to the turbine, right? So there is some procedure. So it takes some time to generate the power from the thermal power plant. So that is the main problem, that we cannot use the for peak loads here. Whereas the hydro power plant, if you want the power, you just pass the water to the turbine, and the water will be discharged. You will be generating the power. And the optimal scheduling in hydrothermal power system, it can be stated as to minimize the fuel cost of thermal power. This is what we discussed in the last slide. The main intention here is to minimize the fuel cost of thermal plants under the constraint of water availability of hydro generation over a given period of operation. Here again the constraint means, just I want to give an example. Constraint means, for example, if the main objective of you is to watch a movie. For example, if you want to watch a movie, it is your objective. So what will be the constraints? First one is you should have the money, and second one is the transportation availability, third one is availability of tickets, right? So these are the constraints, and objective is to watch a movie. Okay, so here what are the factors influence in the hydrothermal optimal scheduling? Factors influence in the hydrothermal optimal scheduling is, first one is the load cycle, second one is the incremental cost of thermal plant, incremental transmission loss, and hydro generation. So here you can see here minimum PGT is equal to PD minus PGH. Here we have, in this equation we have not considered the losses here. So this equation is nothing but, in order to minimize the PGT, PD minus PGH. As I said earlier, always the generation should be greater than or equal to the load demand. So here we are having two types of scheduling problems, because long-term scheduling, and second one is the short-term scheduling. Why we have stated this long-term scheduling means planning, systematic planning. Why is it necessary of scheduling means? Because the water availability is the main problem in the hydrothermal scheduling, because we have to forecast whether how the water will be availability for the next coming seasons. Okay, so in that aspect, long-term scheduling, the optimal amount of water discharge considered for a month or a year. So long-term scheduling, when you are considering the long-term scheduling, you have to plan for a year or a month. So generally the long-term will be for 1 year. So even if you consider for 2 year or 3 year, it is not feasible, right? So you cannot expect the water rainy. How you will get the rain in the next year or the next coming years, right? So considering a year or a few months, maybe 5 months, 6 months period, long-term schedule can be done. So not more than 1 year. Okay. So next one is the short-term schedule. In this JNTK syllabus, we are having only the short-term scheduling. But in this class, I have already also explained the long-term scheduling also with one problem. But you have to give the main important to the short-term scheduling only. Okay. So the optimal amount of water discharge considered for a day or a week is considered as a short-term schedule. So next one is the coordination of runoff river plant and steam power plant. What do you mean by the coordination? For example, if you are conducting an event, you require several hierarchy, right? So you require one manager and production, like that. So you have to coordinate all the teamwork. It has to be the teamwork. So here also you are coordinating the runoff river plant, means the hydropower plant, and a thermal power plant, so that the thermal power plant can be used as a peak load. Basically, the thermal power plant is used as a base load, right? So here, by using the proper coordination, the thermal power plant can also be used as a peak load. That is the main intention here. The same thing here. Check it. A runoff river plant operates when water is available. The ratio of the runoff during rainy season to dry season may be as large as 100. If hydro and thermal are properly coordinated, hydro plant can be used as a base load up to its installed capacity during the period of high stream flows, and thermal can be carry peak load during the period of no water season. Thermal plant supplies the base load and hydro plant as a peak load. This is what we see. So all this coordination, the main intention behind this is to reduce the operating cost. In Telugu, we are having one advertisement. What's it? Dabbulu evariki ఊరికనే రావు, right? We are following the same advertisement here also. So this type of coordination gives a greater utilization factor of the river flow and saving in the amount of fuel consumed in the thermal. So long-term coordination, as I said earlier, we are having only short-term coordination, but in order to have a little bit of knowledge in the long-term coordination also, I have given you the content. So in case of the long-term scheduling, the plan will be forecasting the water availability for 1 year, where depending upon the reservoir capacity and the chronological load curve of the system, and based on these factors during different times of the year, hydro and steam plants can be operated. Okay, so mainly the long-term scheduling is made based on the optimizing policy in view of statically treated unknowns such as load, hydraulic inflows, and unit availability. Okay, next one is the short-term coordination. What do you mean by the short-term coordination? As we said, the scheduling will be done considered for a day or a 1 week, which involves hour by hour scheduling of all available generations on your system to get a minimum production cost for the given time. Such types of scheduling problems, the load, hydraulic inflows, and unit availabilities are assumed to be known. In the first unit, generally in the first unit, we have considered two thermal power plants. One is we have taken an example as one is Simhachalam thermal power plant, and another one is the Vijayawada thermal power plant, right? So in this unit 2, we will be considering one hydro and one thermal. So we have can consider one Sealeru hydro power plant. Again, in case of the Sealeru power plant, we are having two types. One is the lower Sealeru and upper Sealeru, but we are not bothered about it. Just we will have it as a Sealeru hydro power plant. So here we are having two types of plants. One is a Sealeru hydro power plant, and another one is a thermal power plant. Okay. So mathematical formulation of long-term hydrothermal scheduling. Uh, Again, I am repeating. Long-term scheduling is not part of your syllabus. Okay. But in order to get how you will be scheduling, in order to have the knowledge, I am explaining this content. The optimal scheduling problem in hydrothermal system, the following assumptions are made. First one is the storage of reservoir at beginning and end of period of operation T are known. Storage of reservoir. After utilized for irrigation, water inflow to the reservoirs and load demand on system deterministically as a function of time with certainties. So here it's nothing but when the water is utilized, definitely the head of the reservoir will be changes. That we have to know. These are the some assumptions here. So the optimization problem here is to determine the water discharged at Q of T as to minimize the cost of thermal generation. So the main objective function is uh, reduce the operating cost of the thermal power plant, right? So this we are considering 0 to integral T. See cost as a function of power generated by the thermal power plant with a specified period of time, within the specified period of time, because we are scheduling with the help of hydro. That is the reason here we are considering the period of time here. So what are the subject to the following constants? As we seen already, again you want to watch a movie, it is your objective. Then the constants are having the money, transportation facility, and third one is tickets available. So these three will be the constant. Similarly here also the main objective here is to minimize the cost of the thermal power plant. And what are the other constants? What are the constants here? One is the real power balance equation. Second one is the water availability equation. Third one is the real power hydro generation. So real power balance equation means uh, power generated by the thermal power plant plus power generated by the hydro power plant will be equal to the transmission losses and the load demand, which has to be supplied to the load demand. Or in otherwise you can say that Pgt plus Pgh minus Pl is equal to Pd, right? So here with respect to the time, because the water availability will be representing in terms of time here. For example, water will be utilized from morning 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. There you will be taking the integrals as 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, right? So in that particular duration of time, the power generated by the hydro and power generated by the thermal will be calculated according to that. So this is the real power balance equation. Next one, water availability equation. So consider this figure. For example, this is a picture representing the reservoir water level from during September 1st to September 5th. In the September 1st, the water level is at X naught. This is nothing your initial water storage. You considering this one as initial water storage. And when as the days goes on, when it comes to September 5th, the water level in the reservoir has been dropped to x power n. So there is a decrease in the water. So we can consider it as a final water storage from September 1 to September 2 during this particular period of time. During this particular period of time, where x is considered as a complete the storage water. Okay, x naught is the initial water storage, xn is the final water storage remaining. This is similar to your water tank at your homes. In the morning 6 o'clock the water will be filled, and during 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. the water level in your tank will be decreases. It means that morning 6 o'clock the water is filled, and during 7 p.m. the water level, the head of the water level is decreased, right? So there is a change. So whatever at 7 p.m. we are taking the as an interval from 8 as a morning 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is considered as a final water storage. If you consider from 6 o'clock to 7 p.m., 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. In the similar fashion, when the water is flowing into the water tank, this we call it as a inflow, right? When you start the motor, the water will be flowing into your water tank. So this is considered as an inflow, which is nothing but your J. And now at the beginning, here also same, in the case of the September, the beginning the water level is x naught, and at the ending the water level is x dash. And the discharge is nothing but, discharge means the water utilized, which is nothing but your outflow, right? Which is given as a q dash. Now you can see here x dash is equal to x naught plus j dash minus q dash. It is nothing but final water storage minus initial water storage is equal to what will be happen? Input minus output. This is your input to your water tank, and the discharge is the output. So when the input minus output is nothing but your final water storage minus initial water storage, right? So here this has been represented x dash of t minus x dash of 0, final minus beginning or initial, integral 0 to t j of t, inflow rate, right? And plus 0 to integral t q of t dt. So here x dash of t is nothing but water storage at time t, x dash of t is the water storage at the end of the operation time t, x dash of 0 is the water storage at the beginning of the operation t, j of t is the water inflow rate, q of t is the water discharge rate. So as we discuss here, the final water storage minus initial storage is equal to total input minus total output. So real power hydro generation. Real power hydro generation. So the real power hydro generation PGH of T is a function of water storage and water discharge. Water storage is X dash of T and water discharge rate is Q of T. So it is a function of PGH of T is a function of water storage and water discharge. And we are discretization means here the word discretization means cutting into parts or dividing into parts. So here we are dividing into subintervals. So for example, during a, if you consider during a day, you can classify it as a morning 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Again from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. like that. So here T is categorized into n subintervals. For example, if you are considering it as a week, so you will be having a 7 days. So 7 days will be your subintervals, and in case of the month, 30 or 31 days. So in the year, if you consider 365 days, okay. So this is your real power hydro generation. So by discretization principle, the optimization interval T is subdivided into n equal subintervals of delta T time length, and over each subinterval it is assumed that all the variables remain fixed in the value. Above the problem can be further written as, so minimum delta T or change in the time with respect to sigma k is equal to 1. C PGT, which is nothing but the power generated, which is represented, the cost of the thermal power plant is represented in function of power generation. Okay. So similarly, minimum of Q to the K, and from K is equal to 1 to N, C PGT of K means a total number of units here. Total number of units in the thermal power plant, which is represented. So what are the subject to the following constraints here? I hope already you got this point, the word constraint here, right? So first one here is power balance equation, water availability equation, power generation by the hydro. So what is the power balance equation? PGT plus PGH minus PL minus PD, where K is representing the number of units. For example, if you consider PGT, power K for a thermal power plant, which is a Simhachalam thermal power plant in our example. In our example, we are considering PGT as a Simhachalam thermal power plant, where it consisting of 4 units. So this equation can be written as PGT 4 plus PGH. I don't know, because in case of the sea level, since we have considered as an example, consider it as a 2 units or 3 units. These are 4 units. We will be writing it as a 4. Okay. Here PGTK is power generated by the thermal in the kth interval. So with duration of time. Okay. Similarly, the PGH is a K power generated by the hydro in a kth interval. K is here not the number of units. Here, which is representing during the generation of power during which interval. Okay. So PL is the transmission loss in kth interval, and PL is nothing but your transmission loss, because the load is never nearer to the. We can't say never. Almost the load will be very far from the generation end, right? So definitely when the power has to be transferred from, for example, in Simhachalam power is generated and Sileru the power is generated. By using these two, for example, the load is at Rajahmundry, so definitely the power has to be transferred from, transmitted from Simhachalam power plant, that is at Vizag, to Rajahmundry. So definitely you'll be having the transmission line losses. So the transmission line losses already we have calculated with the help of the B coefficients in the unit 1. You can watch the unit 1 video for how we have solved the B coefficients with the help of the B coefficients. So PL is given by BTT PGT square. In generally in the in the unit 1 you will be having here P square G1 B11 plus P square G2 B22 plus 2 B12 Pg1 and Pg2, right? So here, since we are considering one thermal and one hydro, we are noted here as a TT, means thermal related, thermal and hydro hydro. Okay. So this equation is very important while solving the every problem. It may be long-term scheduling or short-term scheduling, because the transmission line losses plays a very crucial role for planning the how much power it will be transmitted. Okay. Next one is the water availability equation. So may the notations may change here, but the concept is ending minus beginning, minus J is nothing but your inflow rate, Q is nothing but your discharge rate during that particular interval. Right? So here this equation we are dividing with delta T, because converting the storage into discharge units. Generally the storage units is a meter cube. In order to get into the meter cube per second, again in the problems the meter cube per second again will convert it into meter cube per hour. But as a theory considered here, we are converting this meter cube to meter cube per second. But during the solving the problems, you will be converting this meter cube per second into meter cube per hour. Remember this point. So x power k minus x power k minus 1, j power k plus q power k is equal to 0. Okay, this is the next one is the real power hydro generation in any subintervals. So this is the power generated in the hydro power plant, which is given as a the we are not deriving how you have deriving this equation. Pgh power k is equal to h naught into 1 plus zero point 0.5 e x power k plus x power k minus 1 into q power k minus rho. This formula can be also obtained from the thermal textbooks in the mechanical department. One is Modi and Seth, second one is the R.K. Bansal. If you find these two textbook, you can get this derivation. But the derivation is not required now, because it has been already studied in your last semesters. So directly we are writing this equation as PGHK is equal to h naught into 1 plus zero point 0.5 e x power k plus x power k minus 1 q power k minus rho, where h naught is equal to 9.81 into 10 power minus 3, where h naught dash is the basic water head corresponding to the dead storage, which is represented here. So E is the water head correction factor. Here water head correction factor means if the water will not be stable in the reservoir, you definitely while you taking the reading, water will be fluctuating, right? Moving, coming forward and coming backward. You may have some correction factors. For example, it may be in the 1 feet, 2 or 2 feet change like that. So rho is the non-effective discharge. What is the non-effective discharge means? The water is evaporating, or the water which is not utilized for the generation. The water which is not utilized for the generation, or the water which is evaporated due to the heat, that is sun. Okay. So again PGH the is nothing but H naught into 1 plus zero point 0.5 E x power k plus x power k minus 1 q power k minus rho, right? So this is nothing but your average head into discharge. So q power k minus rho is nothing but your effective discharge, meter cube per second. So average head in kth interval is represented as average head is equal to h naught dash plus change in time x power k plus x power k minus 1 by 2a, where a is the area of cross section of reservoir. The detailed derivation can be obtained from the mechanical textbooks. Okay. Next. So this one is the HAV is equal to h naught dash 1 plus zero point 0.5 e x power k plus x power k minus 1. Right. So PGH is equal to h naught into 1 plus zero point 0.5 e x power k plus x power k minus 1 q power k minus rho. So where h naught is nothing but the gravity, 9.81 into 10 power minus 3. You can see here. For example, if you consider k is equal to 1, according to the water availability equation, this becomes x power 1 minus means final. X naught is the initial, J is the inflow to the reservoir, where Q dash is the discharge. When K is equal to 2, again here it becomes 2, and now you will be getting this one here, because this is the ending time, right? So this is the ending time, now this one is the beginning time. So minus J2 plus Q2. So this we can write in terms of x power n minus x power n minus 1 minus j power n plus q power n is equal to, for k is equal to nth interval. So this is your water availability equation. So solution techniques, as we discussed, there are many minimization techniques, but in all the minimization techniques, the Lagrangian, considering the Lagrangian is a bit simple method in order to optimize the equations, right? So while solving this optimization technique, I consider all the methods will be having more optimization techniques, which will not found in any other textbooks, right? It is a practical way where all the mothers lead the family in a very uh, beautiful manner, right? Very very good economical conditions. So here also we are considering the Lagrangian multiplier. So based upon the Lagrangian multipliers, this equation represents, one is the main objective functions, and these three, one is the power balance equation, water availability equation, and hydropower generation is constraints. Okay, this is the main objective. Objective is to reduce the operating cost of the thermal power plant with the help of these three constraints: power balance equation, water availability equation, hydropower generation. Similar to the example which I have given already. Watching a movie is your objective. One is having the money. Second one is transportation. Third one is the tickets availability. Right? These are the three constraints, and this is the main objective, Lagrangian. So in case of the Lagrangian, we have to solve it as a with respect to derivative with respect to the PGT, PGH, and PGH and x power k. So on solving this, you will be getting this equation. You will be writing this equation. Dou L by dou PGT means, since we are writing this with respect to the function of thermal power plant, where it becomes dou C by PGT power k minus dou of PGT lambda 1 power k. Since here you will be having PGTK, so this equation becomes here dou PL by 2. Remaining all terms will become 0. Similarly, PGH also you will be deriving, you will find this equation. So, and now substituting this second equation in the 4 and differentiating with q dash, you will be getting it as a lambda 2 minus lambda 3 dash h naught 1 plus 0.5 e 2 x naught plus j minus 2q plus rho. So from the above equation, for any subinterval, the Lagrangian multiplier can be obtained as follows. Lambda 1k can be obtained from the equation 5, lambda 3 6, lambda 2 dash equation 8, lambda 2k equation number 7. So the partial derivatives in the Lagrangian function with respect to the independent variables given the gradient vector. So here dou Lagrangian by dou q k is where k is not equal to 1. So 2, 3 like that. Lambda 2 power k minus lambda 3 k h naught into 1 plus 0.5 e 2x power k minus 1 plus jk minus 2q power k plus rho. For optimality gradient vector it will be equal to 0, right? So for example, if there are no inequality constants on the independent variables, that is on the control variables, that is water discharge. If not, we have to find out the new values of control variables that will optimize the objective function. This can be achieved by moving the negative direction of the gradient vector to a point where the value of objective function is nearer to the optimal value. Repeat the iterative process till all the components of gradient vector are nearer to 0 with tolerance. So while if you are reading this content, it may look uh, some little bit hard, but one problem if you solve this, it looks very simple. So I would like you to suggest one thing. Both you have to do simultaneously, reading the content and also solving example problem. By checking the example problem, you can get the right. Okay, next. So here we have taken, but according to the JNTK curriculum, this part is not there in your syllabus. Remember this point. Okay, long-term scheduling is not there. But in order to have knowledge, just we have taken this problem. A typical hydrothermal system is shown in the figure. For a typical day, uh, the load on the system varies in the steps of 8 hours, each 9, 12, and 8 megawatt. So there are in a day there are 24 hours. For 8 hours each, the power is generated as first 8 hour 9 megawatt, next 9 to 17 12 megawatt power is generated. So 17 to again 24, the power generated is 8 megawatt. So there are that we see later. Respectively, there is no water inflow into the reservoir. So J is not considered here. So the initial water storage in the reservoir is 120 meter cube per second, and the final water storage should be 75 meter cube per second. The total water availability for the hydro generation scheduling for the day is 30 meter cube per second. So J is given a water inflow, reservoir or storage. Q is the water discharge here. The basic head is given as 30 meters. The water head correction factor E is given to be 0.004. Assume for simplicity that the reservoir is rectangular so that E does not change with the water storage. Let the non-effective water storage be assumed as a 3 meter cube per second. The fuel cost characteristics of the thermal power plant is CT is given as 0.2 P square GT plus 50 PGT plus 130. This already we have seen the algebraic second quadrant equation AX square plus BX plus C, because this we got from the unit 1 also, because the load is not a linear load. Always the load will be changes. Load is not on the generation side. So here the CT is equal to the equation becomes AX square plus BX plus C. So this is your CT. So find the optimum generation schedule by assuming the transmission losses neglected. So already has given the cost as a this equation, second order quadratic equation. So incremental fuel cost is nothing but your derivative function of this equation with respect to the PGT. You'll be getting 0.2 into 2, zero point 0.4 PGT plus PGT is with the same means you'll be getting it as a 15. So 130 is a constant, means it becomes a 0. So the total time of operation is 24 hours. So there are subintervals is n is equal to 3. So duration of each subinterval is 8 hours, right? So 1 to 8 we are generating 9 megawatt, and again 8 to another 8 hours is 12 megawatt, and after that again 8 megawatt, total 24, right? With the duration of with subintervals of n is equal to 3. So initial water storage has been given x dash 0 120 meter cube per second. Final water storage is 75 meter cube per second, and basic water head is 30 meters. Water head correction factor is E is equal to 0.04. Non-effective water discharge rho is equal to 3 meter cube per second, right? So subintervals is equal to 3. So how many corresponding subinterval or independent variables? So n minus 1 is nothing but your number of water discharges of the corresponding subintervals. So it can be specified as a independent variables, and the remaining one means 3 minus 1 represents 2 are independent variables and 1 is the dependent variable, because n minus 1. So the water discharges Q2 or Q3 are considered. So the independent variables are Q1. Q2, Q3 are considered as independent variables. Q1 as a dependent variable. So now let us assume this initial value to be, since the head is given as a 30, we are considering it as a Q2, Q3 as a 15 meter per second. and Q3 is a 15 meter cube per second. So first you will solve with the water availability equation. So 120 minus 75, this you will be getting it as a 10 meter cube per second. So next one is the, so x1 and x2, you will solve for the x1 and x2. So x1 is 110 meter cube per second, x2 is 95 meter cube per second. So next one is the power generated by the hydro, 1 plus 0.5 e x power k plus x power k minus 1. So these x0, x1 and x2 will be substituted here. So here you will be getting the power generated by the hydro during the interval 1. So next case, power generated by the hydro power plant in the interval 2. Next one is the PGH3, means power generated by the hydro during interval 3. So the thermal power generation during these sub intervals are PGT minus is equal to PD minus PGH. So which is nothing but your PGT is equal to 5.9923. So during the interval 1, power generated by the thermal power plant is 5.99 megawatt, whereas hydro is 3.007 megawatt. In the similar fashion, you will be calculating the PG2 second interval, PGT in the third interval. So now we have to consider the lambda 1, right? So lambda 1 is nothing but again considering the Lagrangian multiplier, dou Lagrangian by power generated by the thermal power plant. So is equal to main objective function minus its constant. So here lambda 1 is nothing but your 0.4, this equation lambda 1 k is equal to 0.4 pgtk plus 50, right? So from that equation you will be finding lambda 1 at first interval, lambda 1 second interval, lambda 1 third interval. So again from the equation above, dou lambda by dou pgk is equal to lambda 3k minus lambda 1k minus 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pgk. So by neglecting the transmission losses, we will be having lambda 3 dash lambda 3 during the interval 1 is nothing but same, lambda 3 lambda 1 during interval 2 same. So this is the equation. So this again by using this lambda, you will substitute in this equation, you will be getting lambda 2, and from the equation where dou Lagrangian by dou x power k, where k not equal to 0 and not equal to n, if you substitute this equation for k is equal to 1, you will be getting it as a 21.709. Similarly, for k is equal to 2 and okay, for k is equal to 2, for k is equal to 2, you got this value 20.830. Right? So next one is 1.4. If you observe here, the tolerance value of the gradient vector is 0.1. Since the above iteration gradient vector is not 0 or less than or equal to 0.1, the optimality is not satisfied here. Then for the second iteration, obtain the new values of control variables. So again, you will be have to be iterate the same with the different values. Okay, this one is the long-term scheduling. This particular topic is not in your syllabus. Okay, next coming to the short-term thermal scheduling. This part is very important in the exam point of view. Kindly pay attention. As we discussed, as we said earlier, short-term means planning the hydrothermal for a day or a week, right? So in that we are scheduling the hydrothermal with the help of the penalty factors here. Okay, so this is also known as a penalty factor method of solution. So let PGTI is nothing but the power generated by the of ith thermal plant. That is in our example Simhachalan thermal plant consisting of 4 units. I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Since it is having 4 units. Okay. If it is power generated by the thermal power plant, unit 1, unit 2 or unit 3, unit 4 like that. Similarly, in the similar fashion, PGHJ, where I is indicating for thermal power plant, J is indicating for the hydro power plant. Means which unit the power is generated. J represents which unit is generated in the hydro station. I is the unit in the thermal power station. Okay, remember this, I and J. So here DCI by DPGTI, as from the unit 1 we have seen that DCI by DPGI PG1 is nothing but your incremental fuel cost of ith thermal plant. So next one is the WJ, which is nothing but water used for the power generation of jth hydro plant, which is given as meter cube per second here. So here the one thing we have to consider here is the cost of the coal is very high, where the cost of the water is zero, right? Since the water is available in the nature. So DWJ by DPGH J gives you an incremental water rate of jth hydro plant in meter cube per second. DPL or DOPL, as you know that it is incremental transmission loss of ith thermal plant. Similarly, you will be having a transmission loss in hydro plant also. So the same you can represent here as DOPL by DOPGHJ, where again you will be considering this lambda as a Lagrangian multiplier in order to reduce the in order to obtain the minimum economical conditions. So gamma J, as we said that J is used for the hydro, gamma is considered here as a constant, which is converting the incremental water rate of hydropower plant into an incremental cost. As we said, water availability is free. So water cost of the fuel for the hydro is free, but since we are scheduling with the thermal power plant, we require a constant which have a relationship between the both to have a relation between the with respect to cost aspect. We are writing this parameter as a gamma j. Okay, so here n is the total number of plants, means including with the thermal power plant plus hydro power plant. So whereas in alpha is the number of thermal plants, where n minus alpha is the number of hydro plants, where t is the time interval during which plant operation is considered. In short term, water level is not considered. Head of the water is reservoir is assumed to be constant. Here the main objective is to find the generations of the individual plants, and also considering both thermal and hydro, and generating cost with considering the load demand and losses. Okay, so here another function we have considered here, one is the kj. Kj means the water utilized during the hydro generation, water utilized during the hydro generation. And another aspect w that we'll see next slide. So the objective function is to minimize the cost of generation. If the hydro is not considered, uh, directly we can write this as a sigma I is equal to 1 to alpha, or number of units CI dt, right? But here since we are considering the hydro, again the point where the intervals of time will be come into exist. So that is the reason we are considering here integral 0 to t. So subject to the equality constant, again the total power generated will be equal to the PD plus load demand plus transmission line losses. So the total power generations are, one is the thermal power plant and another one is the hydro power plant. So PGTI sigma is equal to 1 to alpha, sigma j is equal to alpha plus 1 to n PGHJ, right? So here this WJ is the water outflow from the turbine or turbine discharge. Okay. Um, so integral 0 to t Wj dt is equal to kg. Both will be the same because water utilized for the power generation will be equal to the water discharged, right? So during the particular period of time, we considering it as a 0 to t. So here the main objective function now becomes In the earlier case, it was minimization of I is equal to 1 to t, 0 to integral t C of t. This is only for the thermal aspect, and here now this equation becomes with respect to the hydro. The main objective function here is I is equal to 1 to alpha, integral 0 to t Ci dt plus j is equal to alpha plus 1. Here I is equal to 1 to alpha and 0 to integral t Ci dt plus including with the thermal plus total number of plants in the hydro, which represents gamma j and kj. But kj is nothing but your 0 to t integral 0 to t wj dt. Now substituting this equation, you will be having a this equation, right? So next one is the for a particular load demand PD. Now separating for the PD equation, this can be represented as PGT plus PGH minus PL. When we are talking about the transmission line losses, since we are having two types of power plant, one is from with respect to the thermal power plant and another one is with respect to the hydro power plant. So with respect to the change in the time, so this equation can be represented as PGTI PGHJ, same PGTI PGHJ minus PL. PL here is one is for with respect to thermal power plant and another one is with respect to the hydro power plant. Okay. So considering particular hydropower plant at X, it can be written as PGH minus dou PL by dou PGHX. So the value is written here as a X30 is equal to minus PGTI minus sigma j is equal to alpha plus 1 to n det P or delta PGHJ power generated by the hydro plus transmission line losses for the thermal power plant and transmission line loss for the hydro power plant. So on arranging all these equations, you will be having the condition for minimization as changes as I is equal to 1 to alpha 0 to integral Ci dt plus j is equal to alpha plus 1 to n gamma j 0 to integral t wj dt is equal to 0. So the above equation can also be written as the can be written as like the equation number 8. So for hydro plant X, this will be your equation gamma X dwx by dpgh is equal to minus sigma I is equal to 1 to alpha dci by dpgti that pgti minus j is equal to alpha plus 1 to n gamma j dwj by dpghj. So while usage of these words, hearing it may be difficult. Once you start writing on it paper, it will be very easy. Okay. So multiplying the above equation, because when we are speaking with respect to the derivative into and summation, while hearing it will be disturbance. Okay, but when you start solving on a paper, it looks very simple. Okay. So this is a very important question with a university exam point of view. So I would like you all to practice this 2 to 3 times. Okay. So this is the equation number 9. So again we are substituting 1 minus dou PL by dou PGHX and change delta d PGHX. So all this equation we are rearranging the above equation. The final equation I am skipping to equation you will be getting it as a coordination equations as dci by dpgti into 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pgti is equal to ic into li is nothing. So this is nothing but your ic, li is nothing but your penalty factor which is equal to lambda. Similarly for the hydro, gamma j dwj by dpghj 1 minus 1 minus dou pl by dou pghj. Similarly in the unit 1 also you got the equations as a without losses means dc1 by dpg1 is equal to dc2 by dpgt is equal to lambda in case of unit 1 without losses. Again with losses means dc1 by dpg1 into L1. L1 is nothing but your penalty factor is equal to dc2 by dpg2 into L2 is equal to lambda. So these are the main equations for unit 1 and unit 2. Since here we are having the hydro, this equation becomes gamma j dwj by dpghj 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pghj. Okay, next. So this is the transmission line losses equation. This already we have seen in the explained in the previous slides. So this is the transmission line for, if you consider for thermal, and this is for hydro, and this is for thermal plus hydro. So this is the problem. A two plant system having a steam plant. Steam plant means thermal power plant near the load center, and hydro plant at a remote location as shown in the figure. The load is 500 megawatt for 16 hours and 350 megawatt for 8 hours a day. The characteristics of the units are C1, W2. Okay, this is for hydro and this one is for thermal. The loss coefficients are given, and he is asking to find the generation schedule, daily water used by the hydro plant, and daily operating cost. Okay, so as you know from the coordination equation, the equations is equal to dc1 by dpg1, dc1 by dpg1, 1 means here t, right? So dc1 by dpgt is equal to 0.075 into 2 chesi plus 45 వస్తుంది. Okay, so pg1 చేస్తాం. Next one is dc1 by dpg1 into penalty factor 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pga. So from the figure you have to find the pl. This is what we have written here. dc1 by dpgt is equal to, obtain this equation as a lambda. So another for the hydro, this is the gamma j dw by dpgh 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pghj is equal to lambda. So what is a gamma? This already we have seen in the theory part. So here gamma means represented as a 85.5. dw by dpgh is nothing but your 0.6 plus 5.66 into 10 power minus 3 pgh. So 1 by 1 minus dou pl by dou pgh. So 1 by 1 here you have to find the dou pl by dou pgh. Since these are the coordinating equation. Excuse me. Yeah. So LT is equal to 1 by 1 minus 0. And the next one is the transmission losses are only due to the hydro plant. This becomes 0. So Pgt plus Pgh is equal to Pd plus Pl. So on substituting all these equations here, you will be getting Pgt in terms of, again you know that this Pgt is equal to 500 plus 0.001 P square Gh minus Pgh. So substituting 4 in 2, you will be getting this equation. So on substituting 4 into, you'll be getting in the cubic equation. So this can be solved by using the calculator. If you are having fx 991 mw mode, you'll go to the equation, and from the equation you change the degree to 3. Then you can put the a value, b value, c value, and d value. From there you can obtain the value of roots. Okay, so the minimum root which is will give you the answer. So by like that I have solved this. Pgh is equal to this value, and after obtaining the Pgh, you will be placing in the substituting in the Pgt. This is your value, and PL is equal to this value. So this is for when PD is equal to 500, and next one is the PD is equal to 350. The same equation again you will be getting in the cubical equation. There you will be solving Pgh is equal to this value like this. So after obtaining the two intervals, the water equation is water well daily water used by the hydro plant is W is equal to 0.6 into PGH plus 0.00283 P square GH into meter cube per second. So daily water quantity used for 500, right? So load is for 16 hours. Daily water quantity used for 350 megawatt. Load for 8 hours, which gives this equation. So this is the water. And here uh, this one is 3600 actually. It is not a 360. Okay, next. This is also same. This one is the second problem and the similar fashion. So by coordination equation, dc1 by dpgt into L1 is equal to gamma j dw by dpgh into L, that is the penalty factor, is equal to lambda. This is the equation. So the basic equation which has given us pgt plus pgh is equal to pd, already it is given as 400, pl is this equation. So pgh you got this equation. So on substituting these values here in the coordination equation, you will be getting again cubical equation, which is Pgt is equal to 55.4 megawatt, Pgh is equal to 347 megawatt, PL is equal to this value. Okay. So from there, by using the coordination equation, you will solve Pgt plus Pgh minus PL and substituting in the PD. Okay. So again, in the same problem, he has asked in the textbook, Shivnagara's textbook, for the same system of the above problem, load is given as 750 megawatt for 14-hour duration, 500 megawatt for 10-hour duration on the same day. Find the generation schedule. This one is an important problem in exam point of view also. In the last slides, I will show you the solved problems. Okay. All the problems will be similar. Writing in the coordination equation, and you'll be getting a cubical equation and solving it. You'll be getting PGH, PGT, and PL. And after that, writing in the water equation and substituting in the water daily water used equation, you'll be getting the, okay. Similarly here also. So a two-plant system has a thermal station near the load center and a hydropower station at a remote location as shown in the figure. Here, since it is the hydropower plant is generating, and the remaining values will become 0 related to the thermal B110, B120, B210. So the PL is directly you can obtain here. So dou PL by dou PGH. So dou PL by dou PGT is nothing but your 0 here. So PGH is equal to 200 megawatt. So WT is given here 18. Okay, maybe one page have missed here. You can solve this equation, otherwise if you find. Okay, this is another problem. This is the page number, how much one paper is missing here. Okay, so this one is another question. So you can consider this question. In a two plant operation system, the hydro plant operates for 8 hours during each day. All these problems are same. You can write the question and solve it. And this problem was asked in the university also. I will show in the last slides. So this one is the what are the advantages of combined operation of hydrothermal combination. This one is very important question also. First one is the flexibility. So flexibility means thermal plants require time for generation, whereas hydro plants requires less time, right? So hydro plants are base load plants generally, as well as peak loads. Hydro plants are preferred to operate as a peak load plant, such that their operation improves flexibility of the system. This one is important question. So next one is a greater economy. By using the hydropower plant, we are reducing the operating cost of the thermal power plant. So next one is the security of supply. So water availability must depend on the season. It is high during the rainy season and may be reduced due to the occurrence of drought during the longer plants. So during that period of time, the water can be used. So better energy conservation. So during heavy rain runoff period, the generation of hydropower is more, which results in the conservation of fossil fuels. Right. So the next one is the reserve capacity maintenance. For the operation of power system, it is necessary that every system has some certain reserve capacity to meet the forced outages and unexpected load demands. By the combining these two, hydro and thermal, the reserve capacity maintenance is reduced. And these are the old questions which you have given in the GNTK. Describe the short-term hydrothermal economic load scheduling, derive necessary equations. Derivation. Obtain the hydroelectric power plant models. So runoff river plant, that different pondage, you have to pumped storage, you have to write this here. Derive the condition for optimality of short-term hydrothermal scheduling. Again, which is nothing but dC1 by dPg1 into L1 is equal to gamma J into uh, dW by dPgH into 1 by 1 minus dou PL by dou PGH, that you have to derive here. How is optimal generation scheduling of hydrothermal solved, stated and solved in the power system? So scheduling issues, you can write it here. So explain the problem of scheduling hydrothermal power plant. Explain the constants in the power balance equation, water availability equation, and hydropower generation. That are the constants here. So derive the mathematical formulation for short term. While explaining, I have clearly stated that is a very important question. Mention the merits of operating hydrothermal combination. So what are the, we can reduce the operating cost of the thermal power station. So when the water is available, the thermal power generation from the thermal power plant can be reduced, right? So derive the coordination equation same as I will describe different methods for solving hydrothermal optimal scheduling. Okay. Explain the need of hydrothermal scheduling combination. So these are the old questions. And this problem is asked in the R16 October November 2019, which is given in the set 2. This is also the same problem is also explained in the previous examples. You can check this, or you can go through these slides. Okay. So if you have to get enough knowledge, you have to practice the more problems. The more you do the problems, you'll get more knowledge. Okay. For getting good marks, the unit 1 to unit 4 are very easy. Unit 1 and unit 2 are very easy. I request all of you to practice more in unit 1 and unit 2 as well. Right? Thank you.